We understand that one of the top concerns for security officials after an attack is determining whether another one is imminent. In your position, do you think so?
Currently, at the moment, I think it's not so, because the measures that have been put in place, especially with the intelligence services at the moment, is everyone is on high alert, and basically they're looking at possibility of any other thing happening. So even guys who are on leave are being called back, and guys who are currently serving are also on high alert to ensure that there is nothing else that will happen. We don't have a repeat of the same thing. That usually takes place, especially with the current National Intelligence Service Director, who is pretty much keen on ensuring that safety of the country and safety of the civilians is held.
Tell me, John, how does this attack fit into the overall level of violence that we currently see across the world? And of course, tell me, do we necessarily sense that the violence is on the rise currently in Nairobi?
Well, basically, you see that most of these groups are looking for avenues to voice their opinion, because you have Al-Shabaab being crushed over in Somalia by Kenya, the AMISOM, by AMISOM. We also have ISIL being fought by Americans abroad, and we see that this is something that these guys want to look for an avenue to voice their extremism views, because most of the time you find that they see that there is no other avenue that they can use to basically tell people out there that they are still existing, that they are still functioning, even though you see that they operate through sleeper cells like they did, I believe they did so like here in Nairobi. And this is something that's happening globally, not only in Kenya, but also in other parts of the world. We have that happening in Afghanistan, we have that happening in Iraq. So it's something that's going on. And the key thing is that it puts intelligence services and also security services in different countries to be on high alert, and also ensure that they consistently collect intelligence and work also with civilians to get information, because information is key. Whatever intelligence you get is key, and that prevents attacks to happen. I know some people are usually cynical when you say that governments across the world are always collecting intelligence and also thwarting probably certain terror attacks that we never learn about, but it usually happens. And I can tell you that there are a number of things that the government, especially here in Kenya, has done to avert such activities. This one, I think, is something that there's a little lapse that led to that, but I believe that the government will step up.
All right. You believe that the government will work its way around that. But tell me, this attack comes on the third anniversary of the Battle of El Ade. Of course, the one we saw when Somali rebel group attacked the Kenyan base in Somalia, but also just a day after the justice freed one of the 4 suspects that were involved in the Westgate Mall attack in 2013. Tell me, what do you think government officials did wrong? What mistake happened here?
Now, in this case, I believe that the only lapse that was there was, first and foremost, considering the Lade attack that happened, is that it's supposed to be a heightened state of alert, especially in the security services. Considering that these things took part, you can see a Lade took place at the same time last 3 years, in the past 3 years, and we also see that there was an incident that where the guys who attacked Westgate Mall, they are being prosecuted the other day. Now, there's supposed to be a heightened state of alert, especially with that coming to play. But it's a small lapse which I feel that the National Security Council, when they sat down, they analyzed and they saw that this is something we need to look at, and this is something we need to act on. And the government, I'm sure with the president taking charge, is going to do that. And I'm sure future events will be averted, future similar events will be averted. But I would like to say that what we give mad props to is that the government was able to, the security forces were able to coordinate, work together, and we saw that a lot of hostages were evacuated from that particular premises. We also saw that the casualties were around 40. I'm not saying 40 is a small number, but they were able to do what they were able to do because of the efficient coordination they have in comparison to the Westgate attack.
John, are you saying that the National Police carried out their role effectively here? I mean, we saw about 700 people evacuated, but also 14 losing their life at that particular place. Did they have enough time to carry out their job?
Yes, they did. And the good thing is that if you remember the Westgate attack, they had a siege there for about 4 or 5 days. And this one, they were able to do it efficiently before 76 hours. And considering the fact that you had people from the special forces, military special forces, you had people from the General Service Unit RECE, it's a special unit similar to SWAT response, they were able to coordinate effectively and efficiently. And you'd see that every time, after every 2 hours, you'd see hostages being released. And that was something that wasn't there before. There wasn't that coordination before. And I would say, yes, we've lost 14 people, as you've stated, but considering the fact that they were able to evacuate a large number of people, that is also good. And right now, I believe that most people are saying that security forces are even effective in what they're doing. The only thing that's left is working on how we collect intelligence, how we share this intelligence across board. And I believe if that is done, then we'll have an efficient system.
All right, talk to me about some of the civilians that we saw on the ground yesterday carrying firearms. What was their role there, and who are they?
Now, they're private firearm holders who usually are licensed by the Firearms Bureau to carry firearms. The thing about being a private firearm holder is that you're not supposed to expose your weapon unless there is a danger towards you. And I know most of the people who went there were private civilians, but some of them were not supposed to be there. That's in my opinion, because this was supposed to be led by the RECE, guys from the RECE. First respondents were the regular police, the national police. Then came in the second respondents, who are the specialized police. And also we had guys from the military. So when the private firearm holders come in, some of them, in my opinion, some of them are not trained in such scenarios. But I would say some of them who are trained in such scenarios were able to go in, they were able to evacuate the people they were able to evacuate, especially during the first few 40 minutes. They were able to evacuate a number of people. And I would say their efforts were good. But those who came thereafter when the operation was continuing would have compromised the whole operation. So operational-wise, I would say that it was not good for them to be there after the second respondents had taken charge of the situation.
John, before I let you go, on the same note as we mentioned above, we did see some civilians carrying firearms, but also we did see a lot of claims of corruption on issuance of guns to civilians, formed the basis for Interior Cabinet Secretary there, Fred Matiang'i, to disband the body and charged with the exercise. Tell me now, Do you think that this move will curb a future occurrence?
I think that that move has a possibility of curbing that situation, but not in totality, because number one, you're looking at these guys usually get firearms coming in from different parts. You'd find out that the guys who are in Riverside are not licensed firearm holders. Many of them are guys who just came in and basically found their ways to acquire guns or smuggle in guns. But the move to disband the Firearms Bureau Committee and then reconstitute it afresh, to reconstitute it afresh is a good move by Dr. Fred Matiang'i. And I would say that that would lead to people who are justified to hold firearms, especially you'll have people who are ex-retired military personnel, ex-retired police, who can handle a firearm instead of having a firearm being given to a civilian who's never handled a firearm before and doesn't know the procedures of handling a firearm, and you get all excited when you see these things happening, and you rush to situations that not only endanger the people around you, but also endanger you yourself. So that's a good move by Dr. Fred Matiang'i.
All right, thank you very much for joining us.